After identifying the learning objectives and planning the specific learning activities, teachers need plan to assess student understanding, assessments, e.g., tests, papers, problem sets, performances, provide opportunities for students to demonstrate and practice the knowledge and skills articulated in the learning objectives, and for instructors to offer targeted feedback that can guide further learning. Planning for assessment allows you to find out whether your students are learning. It involves making decisions about the number and type of assessment tasks that will best enable students to demonstrate learning objectives for the lesson, the criteria and standards that will be used to make assessment judgments. Student roles in the assessment process, self-assessment, or peer assessment, the weighting of individual assessment tasks and the method by which individual task judgments will be combined into a final grade for the course. Information about how various tasks are to be weighted and combined into an overall grade must be provided to students. The provision of feedback. Giving feedback to students on how to improve their learning, as well as giving feedback to instructors how to refine their teaching. Plan to sequence the lesson in an engaging and meaningful manner. Robert Gagné proposed a 9-step process called the events of instruction, which is useful for planning the sequence of your lesson. Using Gagné's 9 events in conjunction with Bloom's revised taxonomy of educational objectives aids in designing engaging and meaningful instruction. 1. Gain attention. Obtain students' attention so that they will watch and listen while the instructor presents the learning content. Teachers can present a story or a problem to be solved. Utilize icebreaker activities, current news and events, case studies, YouTube videos, and so on. The objective is to quickly grab student attention and interest in the topic. Utilize technologies such as clickers and surveys to ask leading questions prior to lecture, survey opinion, or gain a response to a controversial question. 2. Inform learner of objectives. Allow students to organize their thoughts regarding what they are about to see, hear, and/or do. Teachers can include learning objectives in lecture slides, the syllabus, and in instructions for activities, projects, and papers. Describe required performance. Describe criteria for standard performance. 3. Stimulate recall of prior knowledge. Teachers can help students make sense of new information by relating it to something they already know or something they have already experienced. Recall events from previous lecture. Integrate results of activities into the current topic, and/or relate previous information to the current topic. Ask students about their understanding of previous concepts. 4. Present new content. Utilize a variety of methods including lecture, readings, activities, projects, multimedia, and others. Teachers can sequence and chunk the information to avoid cognitive overload. Blend the information to aid in information recall. Bloom's revised taxonomy can be used to help sequence the lesson by helping you chunk them into levels of difficulty. 5. Provide guidance. Advise students of strategies to aid them in learning content and of resources available. With learning guidance, the rate of learning increases because students are less likely to lose time or become frustrated by basing performance on incorrect facts or poorly understood concepts. Teachers can Provide instructional support as needed, as scaffolds, cues, hints, prompts, which can be removed after the student learns the task or content. Model varied learning strategies, mnemonics, concept mapping, role-playing, visualizing. Use examples and non-examples. 6. Practice. Allow students to apply knowledge and skills learned. Teachers can allow students to apply knowledge in group or individual activities. Ask deep learning questions. Make reference to what students already know or have. Students collaborate with their peers. Ask students to recite, revisit, or reiterate information they have learned. Facilitate student elaborations. Ask students to elaborate or explain details and provide more complexity to their responses. 7. Provide feedback. Provide immediate feedback of students' performance to assess and facilitate learning. Teachers can consider using group/class level feedback, highlighting common errors. Give examples or models of target performance. Show students what you do not want. Consider implementing peer feedback. Require students to specify how they used feedback in subsequent works. 8. Assess performance. To evaluate the effectiveness of the instructional events. Test to see if the expected learning outcomes have been achieved. Performance should be based on previously stated objectives. Teachers can utilize a variety of assessment methods including exams/quizzes, written assignments, projects, and so on. 9. Enhance retention and transfer. Allow students to apply information to personal contexts. This increases retention by personalizing information. Teachers can provide opportunities for students to relate coursework to their personal experiences. Provide additional practice. For simplicity, teachers can organize each learning activity according to the 4 steps stated in Official Dispatch number 2345. Specifically, task assignment, student task execution, student presentation and discussion, feedback and evaluation. A list of 10 learning objectives is not realistic, so narrow down your list to the 2 or 3 key concepts, ideas, or skills you want students to learn in the lesson. Your list of prioritized learning objectives will help you make decisions on the spot and adjust your lesson plan as needed. Here are some strategies for creating a realistic timeline. Estimate how much time each of the activities will take, then plan some extra time for each. When you prepare your lesson plan, next to each activity indicate how much time you expect it will take. Plan a few minutes at the end of class to answer any remaining questions and to sum up key points. Plan an extra activity or discussion question in case you have time left. Be flexible. Be ready to adjust your lesson plan to students' needs and focus on what seems to be more productive rather than sticking to your original plan. Plan for a lesson closure. Lesson closure provides an opportunity to solidify student learning. Lesson closure is useful for both instructors and students. You can use closure to check for student understanding and inform subsequent instruction. Adjust your teaching accordingly. Emphasize key information. Tie up loose ends. Correct students' misunderstandings. Preview upcoming topics. Your students will find your closure helpful for summarizing, reviewing, and demonstrating their understanding of major points, consolidating and internalizing key information, Linking lesson. Ideas to a conceptual framework and/or previously learned knowledge. Transferring ideas to new situations. There are several ways in which you can put a closure to the lesson. State the main point yourself. Today we talked about. Ask a student to help you summarize them. Ask all students to write down on a piece of paper what they think were the main points of the lesson.